Imagine a wave crashing on the shore, only to suddenly pull back, leaving nothing but silence. You were that wave in her life, present, powerful, an undeniable force that brought intensity, meaning, and warmth. Then, gone. No explanation, no goodbye, just a silence so loud it echoes in every corner of her world. In that silence lies a mystery, one that won't easily let go of her mind or her heart. This isn't just another break or a fleeting moment. It's an experience that shakes her to the core, leaving her to grapple with feelings that run far deeper than she realized. It's a force of nature in her life, one that drives her to question, to linger, and to hold on to something she can't quite name. Today, we're peeling back the layers of the female psyche to uncover 9 profound emotions that rise to the surface when you simply disappear. Let's clarify. This isn't about playing games, and it's not about manipulation. It's about the natural responses that emerge when connection meets absence. It's about understanding the delicate psychology of attachment and the ways that silence can hold even more power than words. By diving into these hidden layers, you'll see how your departure leaves a mark that can linger, shape, and intensify her feelings in ways that are often impossible to erase. So, let's unravel the story behind the 9 feelings women experience when you walk away. Number 1. Shock and curiosity. When you disappear, it hits her like a jolt of lightning, striking in an instant but leaving an impact that lasts far longer. Imagine, one day, you're there, filling her world with a sense of excitement, stability, and intrigue. She feels your presence like a steady heartbeat, something she's come to rely on, even if she doesn't fully realize it. And then, without warning, that heartbeat stops. There's nothing but silence. The shock is immediate, and it's profound. It's the kind of feeling that leaves her standing still, her mind spinning, unable to fully process what just happened. In those first moments, it's as if her world tilts slightly, just enough to make her lose her balance. She checks her phone, looks for a sign, rereads old messages, hoping to find a clue, a hint, anything that will tell her why you're suddenly gone. Her mind is flooded with questions, each one more desperate than the last. Did I do something wrong? Did he meet someone else? Was it something I said? These questions don't just float by. They cling, each one growing in weight and urgency. This curiosity isn't just casual interest. It's a deep, almost primal need for answers. She finds herself replaying every conversation, analyzing your last moments together, looking for signs she might have missed. In psychology, we know that the mind craves closure, especially when something significant is taken away without explanation. When you leave without a trace, her brain enters overdrive, seeking a way to make sense of the void you've left. In Stoic philosophy, there's power in restraint, in holding back, in choosing silence over explanation. And here, that power is tangible. Your silence becomes a mystery, an enigma she feels compelled to solve. The unanswered questions become like threads in her mind, each one leading her back to you, over and over again. With every passing day, her curiosity doesn't fade, it grows. The more she thinks, the more she realizes how little she truly understands, and this lack of understanding binds her to you in ways she can't control. This shock isn't a fleeting feeling. It's the start of a mental journey that keeps her connected, invested, and questioning. It's a reminder of your presence even in your absence, a lingering mark that keeps her reaching for answers that only you can provide. And as she searches, you remain the silent force, the steady mystery she can't quite resolve. Number 2, a sense of loss that lingers. Once the initial shock fades, something more profound takes its place. A sense of loss, a feeling that creeps in slowly, wrapping around her heart and mind until it's impossible to ignore. It's not just sadness or regret. It's a pervasive emptiness, an ache that settles into the quiet moments of her day, This loss is more than the absence of your presence. It's the absence of everything you brought into her life. The comfort, the excitement, the feeling of being seen, understood, and valued. Imagine this. Every time her phone lights up, she feels a fleeting hope, a split second where she thinks, maybe it's him. But as the days go by and your name doesn't appear, that hope starts to feel hollow. It's as if she's reaching for something she can't quite grasp, a shadow of what used to be. And this shadow follows her, a reminder of what she had and what she can no longer hold. This feeling of loss isn't just emotional, it's physical. It's the absence of your laugh, your touch, the subtle nuances that made up the connection between you. She begins to notice the spaces you filled, the way her mornings felt brighter when she knew she'd hear from you, the way her evenings felt warmer when she thought of you. Now, those moments feel empty, like a house stripped of furniture, familiar, yet painfully bare. In dark psychology, loss isn't just the removal of someone, it's the lingering presence of their absence. Every memory becomes sharper, every good moment more vivid. Her mind clings to the memories, replaying them like a favorite song, trying to capture the feeling of having you close, even if it's just for a moment. And the irony is that the more she holds on to these memories, the stronger her sense of loss becomes. She finds herself longing for the past, for the version of you that brought meaning to her world. But this loss isn't just about nostalgia. It's a tether, a thread that keeps her bound to you, even in your absence. She feels the weight of what's missing, a weight that reminds her of the comfort, the excitement, the joy she felt when you were near. And as she feels this weight, she can't help but hope, even if silently, that one day you might return and fill the void you left behind. This sense of loss becomes her constant companion, a quiet ache that follows her through her days. And as it lingers, it deepens, transforming into a bond that ties her heart to the memory of you, to the feeling of having something she didn't realize she could lose. Number 3, self-reflection that circles back to you. As days without you pass, her mind enters a new phase, one of intense self-reflection. In the silence you've left behind, she has no choice but to look inward, and this self-reflection isn't kind or gentle. It's a relentless, probing analysis of every moment you shared, every word exchanged, every glance held a little too long or not long enough. She begins to wonder if, somehow, she was the reason you left. This phase is a mental labyrinth, one where every thought leads her back to you. She replays your last interactions over and over again, like watching a movie frame by frame, searching for any subtle sign she might have missed. Was there a word that sounded off? A look she misread? She becomes a detective of her own emotions, examining every detail, hoping to uncover the mystery behind your silence. And with each detail, she questions herself. Was she too demanding? Did she come on too strong? Or, on the flip side, was she too distant, too hesitant, too guarded? These questions aren't just fleeting thoughts. They're the beginning of a cycle, one that pulls her deeper into her own insecurities, her fears, her doubts. In dark psychology, we know that when people are left without closure, they often turn inward, replaying moments and focusing on what they could have done differently. This self-reflection can become all-consuming. But the most intriguing part of this reflection is that, no matter how much she questions herself, she finds herself circling back to one central point: you. Every answer she searches for, every insecurity she confronts, brings her back to the moments you shared. Her mind clings to the idea that if she can just understand what went wrong, she might be able to change it, to correct it, to bring you back into her life. This isn't just self-reflection, it's a search for reconciliation, a quiet hope that by unraveling her own actions, she might unravel the mystery of your absence. In Stoicism, we learn that true strength lies in understanding ourselves without external validation. But for her, you were that validation, a mirror reflecting her worth, her desirability, her importance. And now, without that mirror, she's left searching for a version of herself that only existed when you were present. She clings to this image of herself as she was with you, unable to fully let go, because in her mind, that version of herself is still tied to you. This phase of self-reflection isn't one that she can easily escape. It's a cycle that keeps her invested, that deepens her connection to you, even in your absence. And as she questions, doubts, and searches, she finds herself holding on to the hope that one day she might get the chance to show you the version of herself she's uncovered, the version she believes could finally keep you close. Number 4. Longing and idealization. You become the fantasy. As her mind dives deeper into reflection, something fascinating begins to happen, a transformation of who you are in her memory. This isn't just longing, it's idealization, the creation of a fantasy that feels more real to her than any other connection she might try to form. You start to become a figure in her mind, an image of everything she desires, every quality she wishes to find in someone else, but can't. This idealization isn't accidental. It's a process driven by the mind's need to hold on to something it can't fully grasp. Every flaw you might have had, every little disagreement, every difference is quietly erased from her memory. Instead, she recalls the way you made her feel, the warmth of your touch, the spark in your eyes, the way you looked at her as if she was the only person in the room. These memories don't just linger. They take on a life of their own, filling the empty spaces in her mind with the most vivid parts of you. Imagine this. Every morning she wakes up, you're the first thought that crosses her mind. She remembers the moments you shared, the way you made her laugh, the comfort of being with someone who understood her in ways she never had to explain. You become more than just a person. You become an idea, a perfect blend of strength, mystery, and tenderness. And this idea, this version of you she's created, becomes her new standard, the ideal she silently compares everyone else to. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The more she idealizes you, the more unattainable you become in her mind. You're no longer just a memory. You're a dream, a fantasy she can't quite reach. Dark psychology teaches us that people often idealize those who are absent because it fills the gap with the qualities they desire most. In her mind, you're not just someone she misses. You're someone she needs, someone she can't replace, because you represent a version of love, connection, and intimacy that no one else can provide. And so, every person she meets pales in comparison. They lack the depth she remembers, the understanding she felt, the chemistry she experienced. She finds herself drawn back to the idea of you, to the memory of everything you represented. This idealization is powerful because it keeps her connected to you in a way that feels almost unbreakable. She's not just missing you. She's missing the version of you she's crafted in her mind, a version that's become an irreplaceable part of her heart. In Stoic philosophy, we're taught to see things as they truly are, not as we wish them to be. But for her, this distinction blurs. You're no longer just a person with flaws and imperfections. You're a symbol, a reminder of everything she wants but can't have. And this longing, this idealization, keeps her anchored to you, creating a bond that grows stronger with each passing day. She clings to this ideal, believing that no one else will ever measure up, that no one else can fill the space you've left. And in this longing, you become an undeniable force in her life, a constant presence that draws her back, again and again, to the memory of who you were and the fantasy of who you could be. Number 5. Frustration that draws her closer. As the longing reaches a fever pitch, another powerful emotion begins to bubble beneath the surface: frustration. But this isn't simple anger or resentment. It's a complex mix of feelings that keep her tightly bound to the thought of you. Frustration becomes the fire that fuels her connection to you, a powerful emotion that, rather than pushing her away, brings her even closer. This frustration is rooted in the unanswered questions that haunt her, the lack of closure that leaves her wondering what she could have done differently. Every day, she feels the weight of these questions pressing down on her, each one reminding her of the mystery you left behind. She replays conversations, memories, and shared moments in her mind, each time hoping to find some clue that will bring her peace. But the answers elude her, and with each passing day, her frustration grows. This isn't just frustration with you, it's frustration with herself. She questions her own actions, her own decisions, wondering if there was something she missed, something she could have done to keep you close. This self-doubt becomes a loop, a cycle that ties her emotions to you, keeping her thoughts centered on the memory of who you were. In dark psychology, we know that unresolved emotions often intensify attachment, and here, her frustration becomes the catalyst for an even deeper connection. Every time she feels this frustration, she feels a surge of emotion that keeps you present in her mind. She can't let go because, in her heart, she still believes there's something to be resolved, something that will finally make sense if she just holds on a little longer. Her frustration isn't a barrier, it's a bridge, a reminder of the bond she shared with you, and the hope that one day you might return to give her the answers she craves. In Stoic wisdom, we're taught that frustration arises from wanting things to be different than they are. And for her, this frustration becomes a silent wish, a hope that somehow, some way, things might change. She doesn't just miss you, she wants to rewrite the story, to bring you back and find closure that never came. And as this frustration simmers, it keeps her tied to the memory of you, unable to fully move on. Because a part of her still believes that you might hold the key to the peace she's searching for. Number 6. The need for reassurance. You become the missing piece. As she wrestles with the frustration and idealization, another, deeper need begins to surface: the need for reassurance. This isn't just a passing feeling, it's an intense craving, a powerful void in her life that only grows with each day you're absent. In her mind, you become more than just a person she cared for. You become the missing piece that brings balance, comfort, and wholeness to her world. The need for reassurance is one of the most basic human drives. People crave validation, the feeling that they matter, that they're seen, that they're valued. And for her, you were the embodiment of that validation. Your presence offered her a sense of security, a feeling of belonging that made her feel safe. When you were together, even in small, unspoken ways, she felt grounded, as if she had found something precious that finally made her world feel complete. But now, in your absence, that sense of completion feels shattered. She's left with an emptiness that she can't ignore, a hole in her heart that she tries to fill, but can't. She looks for reassurance in other areas, in friends, in work, in hobbies. But nothing quite compares to the way she felt with you. It's as if a part of her identity was tied to you, a part that can't be easily replaced or overlooked. This need for reassurance becomes a constant quiet ache, a whisper in the back of her mind, reminding her of the comfort you once provided. And the more she seeks that reassurance, the more she realizes that you're the only one who can fill that gap. She starts to see you as the missing piece, the one person who can make her feel whole again. In dark psychology, this attachment to a lost figure can become deeply ingrained, creating a bond that keeps her mind focused on you as her source of validation and comfort. In Stoic philosophy, true strength is found within, a resilience that doesn't rely on others. But for her, this strength feels impossible to attain, without the reassurance she felt in your presence. Every memory of you becomes a reminder of the security she misses, the feeling of being valued, seen, and loved. This need for reassurance isn't just a feeling. It's a force that keeps her bound to you, a reminder of everything she desires, but can't seem to replace. And so, she holds on to this need, this hope, that one day you might return and fill the space you left behind. In her heart, you remain the missing piece, the one person who can make her feel complete once again. Number 7. Rebuilding with you still in mind. She tells herself she's moving forward, that she's finding a new sense of normalcy. She rebuilds her routine, finds new hobbies, tries to fill her time with distractions. But even as she moves forward, she can't help but feel a shadow of you, lingering in everything she does. You may be gone, but in her heart and mind, you're still very much present. Imagine her starting each day with the intention of letting go, of focusing on herself, of moving forward. But in the quiet moments, her thoughts drift back to you, to the memories, to the version of herself she was when you were around. Every small success, every moment of growth feels bittersweet because in her mind, you're still there, a silent presence that she can't quite escape. In dark psychology, there's a concept called phantom attachment, where the memory of someone becomes so deeply ingrained that it feels as if they're still part of one's life, even in their absence. For her, this attachment to you is unshakable. She measures her growth against the person she was with you, her progress against the relationship you shared. She's not just moving forward, she's moving forward with you still in her mind, a quiet reminder of everything she had and everything she misses. And so, every new experience feels incomplete, every achievement tinged with a sense of loss. She may be creating a new life, but it's a life that feels incomplete without you. In Stoicism, we're taught to let go of attachments, to find peace in our own strength. But for her, this attachment is something she can't simply release. You're not just a memory, you're a benchmark, a standard, a part of her identity that she holds on to, even as she tries to move forward. This rebuilding isn't true freedom. It's a process of filling the spaces you left behind, hoping that somehow, in her journey, there might still be a way back to you. Her growth, her progress, her newfound strength, they're all shadowed by the thought of you, a silent presence that keeps her connected, tethered, hoping that one day you might see the version of herself she's becoming and feel drawn back to her. Number 8. Her standards adjust, but only to what you gave. With time, she begins to set new standards for herself, new expectations for what she wants in relationships, in love, in life. But here's the truth. These standards aren't born out of liberation. They're born out of the memory of you. Every new connection she forms, every new person she meets, is weighed against the standard you set in her life. She's not raising the bar because she's moved on. She's raising it because you're the measure of what she truly desires. Imagine her meeting someone new, someone kind, thoughtful, maybe even charming. She might enjoy their company, laugh at their jokes, feel a flicker of connection. But somewhere, deep down, she's comparing them to you. She notices the little things they lack, the intensity of your gaze, the way you listened, the feeling of being fully understood. No one seems to quite measure up, because in her mind, you've set a standard that's hard, if not impossible, to reach. In dark psychology, we know that people often idealize past relationships, turning them into a kind of mental fortress that keeps new connections at bay. For her, you're not just a memory, you're a benchmark, a reminder of the depth, the intensity, the chemistry she felt. Every new person falls short because they lack the unique blend of qualities she remembers in you, qualities that have now become her new expectations. But here's the twist. These expectations aren't truly her own. They're a reflection of what she experienced with you, a standard shaped by the memory of the connection you shared. In Stoicism, We're taught that true freedom comes from within, from releasing the attachments that keep us bound. But for her, this attachment is her comfort, her guide, her way of holding on to the feeling of being close to you, even if only in memory. And so, she sets her standards high, not to move on, but to keep the connection to you alive. She tells herself she's looking for someone who understands her, who values her, who sees her in the way you did. But the truth is, she's looking for you, or at least the version of you she holds in her heart. This isn't closure. It's a quiet, unspoken hope that one day you might return and see the standards you inspired, the version of herself she's built in your absence. Number 9, an unshakable bond that keeps her drawn to you. In the end, after all the longing, the self-reflection, the frustration, and the rebuilding, there remains something she can't ignore, an unshakable bond that keeps her drawn to you, even when she tries to let go. This isn't just an emotional attachment. It's a pull, a gravitational force that holds her in place, no matter how far you may be. This bond is something deeper than words, deeper than memories. It's a connection she feels in her soul, a sense that you were meant to be a part of her life in a way she can't fully explain. Every time she tries to move on, every time she tells herself she's ready to let go, this bond pulls her back, reminding her of the connection, the spark, the intensity she shared with you. It's as if a part of her heart is tied to you, a part that refuses to let go, no matter how much time passes. In Stoicism, we learn that true strength is the ability to accept things as they are, to let go of what we cannot control. But for her, this bond isn't something she can simply release. It's an unbreakable connection, one that keeps her thoughts drifting back to you, her heart silently hoping that, one day, you might feel the same pull, the same bond that holds her in place. And so, she carries this bond with her, a quiet, powerful reminder of the connection you shared. It's a part of her that keeps her looking back, that keeps her tied to the memory of you, even as she tries to move forward. In her heart, there's a silent wish, a hope that one day you might feel the same pull, that one day this bond might bring you back together. In the end, this bond is more than just a memory. It's a presence, an unbreakable connection that keeps her close, no matter where life takes her. It's a force that draws her back, again and again, to the thought of you, the feeling of being near you, the hope that one day this bond might lead you back to her. And there you have it, the 9 feelings that linger, grow, and intensify in the silence you leave behind. This isn't just a story of loss or longing. It's a journey of attachment, of connection, of the profound impact that absence can have. In every step, every thought, every memory, you remain a powerful force, an unshakable presence in her mind and heart. Remember, this isn't about games or manipulation. It's about understanding the depth of human connection, the power of silence, and the bond that grows even stronger in your absence. Because sometimes, it's the quietest moments that speak the loudest, and in the silence you leave behind, you become a part of her story in a way that words could never express. If you found this deep dive into human psychology intriguing, please remember to like and subscribe. Your support helps bring more content that explores the hidden sides of human connection, the powerful dynamics that shape our relationships, and the emotional truths that lie just beneath the surface. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more insights that help you understand the minds and hearts of those around you. See you in the next video.